There is a quiet knowing that lives deeper than the noise of doubt. Beneath your fears, your impatience, and the questioning voice of your rational mind, there is a current that whispers, "It's already yours." But to hear it, you must silence the outer world and awaken to the truth that your desire is not somewhere far away. It is already seeded within you, waiting for your acceptance. You do not need to chase what belongs to you. The law of creation is not a pursuit, it is a recognition. If you can imagine it and feel the weight of its reality within, then it exists already in the unseen. The only distance between you and your desire is your decision to believe that it is on its way. Not maybe, not someday, but surely, certainly, and without fail in its divine time. The mind often demands proof. It wants to see before it believes. But the soul works in reverse. It believes first, and then it sees. If you are to receive what you've asked for, you must live as though it is already making its way toward you. That is the sacred act of faith, to hold the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to carry yourself not as someone hoping, but someone knowing. To walk not as a beggar of blessings, but as the rightful heir of all you've imagined. The universe does not respond to desperation. It does not yield to begging or pleading. It responds to alignment. And alignment is when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all move in the same direction. When you no longer contradict your desires with fear, when you no longer cancel your prayers with worry. Trusting the universe's timing means you understand that delay is not denial, and silence is not absence. Sometimes, the universe is not saying no. It is saying not yet. Because what you asked for is still being shaped into something better than you imagined. So what does it mean to act as if? It means to sit in the house you haven't moved into yet and feel at home. It means to speak from the success that hasn't shown up yet, but is already yours in spirit. It means to thank the universe before the door opens, knowing that your gratitude is the key. It means to live in the state of the answered prayer, even if the evidence has not yet surfaced in your physical world. You must become the version of yourself who already has it. What would you do differently? How would you carry yourself? How would you speak, love, and wake up each day? The bridge between the seen and the unseen is built on feeling. And the universe does not give you what you want. It mirrors who you are being. Become it in consciousness, and the world will conform. There is no power in saying, "I hope it comes." The power is in declaring, "It is already mine." Not as a lie, not as a fantasy, but as a truth you have chosen to accept. One that the outer world has not yet caught up to. You are not waiting on the universe. The universe is waiting on your belief. When you truly believe, time loses its weight. You stop counting days and start counting blessings. You stop measuring how far you are and begin recognizing how close it's getting. Every time you doubt, you stretch the distance. Every time you believe, you pull it nearer. That is the sacred dance. Thought and emotion in union, shaping the unseen into the seen. So if you've asked and you imagine, then your job is to trust. Not with a half-hearted hope, but with unwavering certainty. Rest in the knowing. Smile as though you've already received. Walk in peace, for the thing you seek is not lost, it's on its way. Not when you cry enough, not when you struggle enough, but when you finally become still and know it is done. If you could allow yourself to feel, truly feel the reality of your desire already being fulfilled, you would be stepping into the very essence of creation itself. This world, as solid and structured as it appears, bends not to action alone, but to the intensity and purity of your inner experience. It is not enough to merely state, "I want this," or "I hope that." Want is a whisper, and hope is a waving hand, but feeling deep rich, unquestioned feeling is the commandment the universe never ignores. To feel the wish fulfilled is to step out of the illusion of lack and plant your feet in the certainty of possession. It is to dwell mentally and emotionally in a state where your desire is no longer a future event, but a present reality in your inner world. And when you do that, you are no longer waiting for life to give you permission to be joyful, grateful, or at peace. You are giving yourself that permission now because in your imagination, where all things are first born, it has already happened. Imagination is not a game. It is not make-believe. It is a sacred workshop where all manifestations begin. The mistake many make is using their imagination to revisit pain, to rehash what they lack, or to indulge in worry. They replay old scenes, relive failures, or dramatize fears. But that same imagination, if rightly used, can become the holy ground where you rehearse victory, embrace love, and stand face to face with the outcome you long for. The mind does not know the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is real. So when you feel your desire is already fulfilled, the body, the emotions, and the energy around you begin to align with that unseen truth. You don't need the outside world to change first. You need to become the change internally, and the world will follow. When you close your eyes and enter the silence of your being, do not simply say, "I will have this one day." That day never comes. Instead, declare within yourself, "It is mine now." Let the scene play out in your mind with clarity, but more importantly, let the feeling saturate your soul. If it is love you seek, feel the warmth of being cherished, the security of being chosen. If it is abundance, feel the calm confidence of knowing you are supported, that all your needs are met. If it is healing, feel the vitality coursing through you, as if your body is already being made whole. You are not wishing, you are dwelling. And dwelling in that state long enough will make it hard for the world not to conform to the blueprint you have drawn with your emotion. The reason so many desires go unanswered is not because the universe is cruel or withholding. It is because the individual never dwells in the reality of their answered prayer. They think about it, they worry over it, they question if it's even possible, but all of this is noise. The still, quiet voice that shapes reality responds not to noise, but to knowing. And that knowing is built through repeated feeling. You cannot simply feel it once and forget it. You must return to that state like it is your sanctuary. You must revisit it as though it is the truest part of your life, because in truth it is. Your senses may deceive you. They may tell you nothing has changed. But the feeling of the wish fulfilled is not concerned with appearances. It is concerned only with truth. And truth begins inside. When you allow yourself to really feel it, you are no longer affirming a hope. You are embodying a truth. You become magnetic. Opportunities, people, and moments begin to gravitate toward the energy you're emitting. And they do so not because you demanded them, but because you became their rightful owner. This is the mystery so few are willing to embrace. They would rather work harder, beg louder, and exhaust themselves trying to force outcomes. But those who understand the laws of the unseen know that nothing is more powerful than resting in the feeling of the thing already accomplished. From that rest, from that peace, life responds. What you must grasp is that this feeling is not tied to arrogance. It is not pretending for the sake of pretending. It is spiritual alignment. It is the sacred acknowledgement that everything you desire is already created in the unseen realm, and your feeling is the signal that allows it to pass through into the seen. You are not the creator of the desire, you are the receiver of it. And what you have received in vision, you must now receive in feeling. There is no how in this process. There is no when. There is only now. Every moment you feel as if it is already yours. You are collapsing the time between imagination and manifestation. You are not asking the universe to deliver. It has already delivered. You are asking yourself to believe. And belief is born through feeling. You cannot fake it. But you can nurture it. You can close your eyes and summon it, over and over, until the inner world becomes more real than the outer. And when that shift happens, the world around you bends quietly, obediently, to the new reality you carry. Your assumption is not a casual thought, it is a creative force. It is not a fleeting opinion or a passing daydream. It is the foundation on which your reality stands. What you assume to be true about yourself, your life, and the world around you becomes the silent instruction to the universe on what to manifest. There is no neutrality in this law. You are always assuming something and life is always listening. The tragedy is not in the lack of dreams, but in the abundance of negative assumptions. So many walk through life believing they are unworthy, unloved, or forgotten. They assume that good things happen to others, not to them. They assume life is a constant battle and that struggle is a sign of virtue. But these assumptions are not just thoughts. They are seeds. And every seed, whether conscious or unconscious, grows into form. You cannot plant the assumption of lack and harvest the fruit of abundance. You cannot assume rejection and be met with unconditional love. Life mirrors what you hold as true. To assume the best is not delusion, it is alignment. When you assume that your desire is already fulfilled, you are aligning your inner world with the end result, the finished picture. You're no longer walking toward it, you are walking from it. This shift in perspective is everything. When you assume the end, you begin to live in the state of completion, not the state of longing. And the state you live in, the emotional and mental atmosphere you inhabit, is what life reflects. If you want to know what you've been assuming, look at your current life. Your finances, your relationships, your health, your opportunities, they are all echoing your dominant beliefs. And beliefs are nothing more than repeated assumptions. You don't need to change the world. You need to change your assumption of the world. That shift alone holds the power to rewire everything. The assumption is not passive. It is an act of faith. It is a bold declaration in the face of contradiction. To assume you are successful when your bank account says otherwise, to assume you are loved when you feel forgotten, to assume you are healed while the pain still lingers, this is the true act of creation. The world calls it foolishness, but the wise know it as power. Because when you assume from the end, you are not moved by what your senses show. You are moved by what your spirit knows. You must discipline yourself to hold to the assumption even when reality mocks it, even when delay tempts you to give up. The assumption must become your resting place, your default setting. You do not return to begging or worrying. You return to assuming. And the assumption must be felt, not just spoken. Words are empty without the emotion that gives them life. If you say, I am abundant, but feel poor, your assumption has not shifted. The change must happen in feeling, in conviction, in embodiment. The mind will protest. It will present evidence to the contrary. It will scream that you are being unrealistic. But remember, the current reality is just the result of your previous assumptions. If you want something new, you must plant something new. And assumptions are not created by accident. They are chosen. You have the power to select the assumption you live by, and once selected, life begins to bend around it. This is not about pretending. It is about declaring truth before it becomes visible, and that truth is not built from what you see, but from what you know within. You assume not because you need proof, but because the feeling of it being done is already yours. You do not wait to feel successful until the world calls you successful. You feel it now, and that feeling becomes the magnetic pull that draws the outer conditions toward you. Assumption carries within it the sacred seed of creation. Whatever you assume, you consent to. You grant it permission to enter your life. That is why fear is so destructive. Not because it's real, but because fear is assumption in disguise. When you fear, you are assuming that harm is on its way, and that assumption, if fed, takes form. So too does the assumption of peace, of joy, of blessing. When you feed the assumption that all is working out for you, the world rearranges itself to confirm it. Your assumptions are the architects of your destiny. They do not merely influence your life, they form it. Each time you assume something new, you lay the blueprint for your future. Hold that blueprint long enough and the structure begins to rise. It may begin as invisible scaffolding, as subtle shifts, but soon the structure becomes real, tangible, and undeniable. You do not need to know how your assumption will come to life. The how is not your business. The assumption itself contains the intelligence to unfold. Like a seed that knows how to grow into a tree, your assumption knows the way. Your task is not to manipulate the conditions, but to maintain the state. Stay in the feeling. Keep returning to the vision. Assume that it is already so, and the path will reveal itself piece by piece. When you assume, you align. When you align, you attract. When you attract, you receive. But it begins with the silent decision to believe. Not because you see it, but because you've chosen to. That choice, the choice to assume the end, is the most powerful move you can make. It tells the universe, I am ready now. Time is one of the greatest illusions humanity wrestles with. It appears so firm, so absolute, and yet it is only the reflection of our inner rhythm, not the ruler of our reality. When you begin to walk the path of manifestation, you will quickly discover that the moment you declare your desire, it is already done in the unseen. What keeps it from appearing in the physical is not the absence of its existence. It is the mind's need to rush what only unfolds through divine order. The universe is never late. It is never confused. It is never in a hurry, but it is always on time. We are conditioned to believe that waiting is a punishment, that if something has not happened yet, it must mean something is wrong. We interpret delay as denial, silence as abandonment. But in truth, the delay is often the very proof that something bigger is being arranged for you. It is not a rejection of your desire, it is a refinement of your readiness. The universe does not operate according to your clock, it operates according to alignment. It is not interested in giving you what you want when you want it. It is committed to giving you what you are truly ready to hold. When your mind, body, and spirit are in agreement with what you've asked for. To trust divine timing is to let go of panic. It is to surrender the need to count the days, to track progress, to obsess over signs. It is to rest in the knowing that what you have already claimed in your imagination is on its way to you, and nothing can stop it. It may arrive through channels you never expected, through people you never knew existed, or through circumstances that seem impossible. But that is not your concern. Your concern is to remain rooted in the feeling of having already received. When you constantly check for results, you're sending a message to the universe that you're unsure. You're saying, I don't trust that it's coming, so I need proof. But the universe responds to faith, not fear. When you truly trust, you release. You don't water the seed and then dig it up every morning to see if it's growing. You protect it, nurture it, and trust the unseen process beneath the soil. So it is with your desire. Once planted through assumption and feeling, it must be allowed to grow without interference. There is a timing that your ego cannot understand. It sees a delay as failure, as lost time. But your higher self sees what your eyes cannot. It knows that some delays are actually blessings in disguise. a divine rearrangement taking place behind the scenes. Sometimes the universe is not holding your desire from you, it is holding you for your desire, preparing your mind, shaping your spirit, softening your heart, so that when the moment arrives, you don't just receive the blessing, you become someone who can keep it. You must stop measuring your progress by the clock. Time is not your enemy, it is your servant. What you think is taking too long may be arriving exactly on schedule. And sometimes things don't manifest immediately, not because they are far away, but because you are being asked to expand your capacity to believe. You are being invited to deepen your trust, to anchor yourself in the unseen, to walk by faith, not by sight. The most powerful manifestations often require the most patience, not because the universe is slow, but because the magnitude of what is coming needs space to unfold. You don't build a cathedral in a day, and you don't birth a new reality without transformation. The waiting period is not empty, it is sacred. It is where your faith is forged, your vision sharpened, your energy aligned. There are things working for you right now that you cannot see. People who are being moved, situations that are shifting, energies that are aligning, all in response to your inner state. And just because you cannot track the progress doesn't mean progress is not happening. The universe is not linear, it is quantum. What feels delayed can appear overnight. What seems stagnant can break open in a moment. The question is not whether it will come. The question is whether you will remain faithful in the space between desire and manifestation. This space, this embodiment, is the testing ground. Will you choose peace or panic? Will you feed doubt or feed faith? Will you hold the vision or abandon it for a more realistic one? Your answers determine the outcome. When you trust the timing, you stop striving, you stop forcing, you stop begging for signs, you begin to embody, you begin to live from the end. You begin to act like the person who already has what they asked for. And from that space, time collapses. Delays dissolve. And what once felt far away arrives with effortless grace. When you surrender your timeline, you receive the universe's. And the universe's timeline is perfect. It's not about one day. It's about the alignment of this day. The moment your inner world becomes the match for your desire, that's the moment it begins to unfold in your outer world. Whether it takes hours or years is irrelevant. Because once you understand this law, time no longer controls you. You live above it. You exist in the space of knowing. There is no such thing as waiting in lack when you are dwelling in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In that state, you are not waiting, you are preparing. You are not lacking, you are aligning. Every moment spent in faith is a step closer to the manifestation, whether you can see it or not. And when it arrives, you will not be surprised. You will not call it luck. You will recognize it as the inevitable result of your inner state. Because you didn't wait passively, you walked in trust. You didn't watch the clock, you watched your thoughts. And in doing so, you became the evidence of perfect timing. To live in alignment is to become the living embodiment of your desire. It is to shed the skin of doubt, fear, and need, and to walk in the world as if what you've asked for is not just coming, but already present, already real, already yours. Alignment is not merely thinking positively or speaking affirmations. It is the internal agreement between your thoughts, your emotions, and your action. When all three are unified and move as one, you become an irresistible force to which the universe must respond. Most people live in contradiction. They say they want love, but feel unworthy of receiving it. They desire abundance but constantly worry about money. They speak of success yet act out of fear of failure. These contradictions split their energy, confuse their vibration, and delay the very blessings they seek. You cannot claim to believe in your dream while simultaneously living as if it's not possible. Every act of doubt is a vote against your own destiny. Every moment spent in worry is a silent declaration that you don't trust what's coming. And the universe, ever responsive, mirrors that conflicted state back to you. To live in alignment is to remove those contradictions. It is to make your inner world so unified, so consistent, that there is no space left for uncertainty. It is when you speak like the person who already has it, feel like the person who already enjoys it, and act like the person who is living it right now. It's not pretending, it's remembering. It's calling your future self into the present moment and letting that version of you take the lead. You must ask yourself honestly, are my thoughts supporting my desire or sabotaging it? Are my emotions matching the outcome I want or resisting it? Are my daily actions aligned with faith or driven by fear? These questions are not to shame you, they are to awaken you. Because alignment is a choice. It is the daily decision to embody your desire even when the world shows you no evidence. You are not here to react to the world. You are here to instruct it. But instruction does not come through desperate effort or anxious hustle. It comes through vibrational agreement. When your energy says, I already have it, the universe complies. But when your energy says, I hope it comes, but I'm afraid it won't, the universe pauses. It waits for clarity. It waits for harmony. It waits for you to become still enough to resonate fully with what you ask for. Living in alignment means no longer living from a place of lack. Lack says, I don't have it yet, so I must strive harder. Alignment says, it is already mine, so I will live in gratitude and trust. Lack panics. Alignment rests. Lack doubts. Alignment knows. The more you identify with what is missing, the more you delay its arrival. But the more you identify with the version of you who already has it, the faster it moves into form. Because creation is not about pursuit. It is about resonance. Every time you wake up and choose to carry the emotion of your fulfilled desire, you are aligning. Every time you speak with confidence, walk with intention, and treat yourself with the respect your vision requires, you are aligning. And every time you refuse to be swayed by the outer world and instead return to the inner vision, you are deepening that alignment. But alignment is not a one-time event. It is not a switch you flip and forget. It is a daily devotion, a sacred discipline. It is catching yourself when old patterns try to re-enter. It is noticing when fear whispers in your ear and choosing to silence it with truth. It is building a new emotional home, one that feels like the reality you desire to live. And the more time you spend in that home, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, the outer world begins to reflect what has long been true within. You must understand, living in alignment does not mean your life will be free from challenges, but it does mean you will meet those challenges with a different spirit. You won't crumble under pressure. You will stand in the confidence of what you've already received in your spirit. You won't let temporary setbacks shake your belief. You will use them as stepping stones to strengthen your vibration, because alignment is not the absence of hardship. It is the unwavering presence of inner truth, even in the face of contradiction. There may be moments where everything in the world tells you to give up, where delays tempt you to settle, and circumstances urge you to doubt. But in those moments, alignment becomes your anchor. You return to the feeling, the vision, the inner knowing. And you remind yourself, I do not live by appearances. I live by the truth I have chosen within. That truth is not a fantasy, it is a frequency. And that frequency is what shapes reality. When you live in alignment, the world begins to treat you differently. People respond to the energy you emit. Opportunities seem to find you effortlessly. Doors open not because you forced them, but because you became the one who belongs on the other side. You stop begging for permission to receive. You start walking as though it's already done. And that shift, that quiet, powerful shift, changes everything. Alignment is the invisible agreement between your soul and the universe. It is saying, I trust what I cannot yet see because I have already seen it within. And from that place of trust, the universe meets you, not halfway, but all the way. Because you didn't chase the dream, you became it. You didn't wait for the world to change, you changed your state and the world followed. The world you see around you is not separate from you. It is not a random sequence of events or a neutral background in which your life unfolds. It is a mirror, a direct reflection of your inner world, polished by the thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold, and most importantly, the state you consistently dwell in. What shows up in your life is not determined by chance or luck, but by the vibration you carry within. If you want to change your life, you must begin not with the external conditions, but with the internal atmosphere of your mind. And so, people often ask why their lives continue to show them the same struggles, the same lack, the same painful patterns. They chase solutions outside of themselves, new jobs, new relationships, new opportunities, hoping that a change in scenery will bring a change in experience. But wherever you go, you bring yourself. And if the inner world remains unchanged, the outer world will simply rearrange itself to match it. You may find a new relationship, but it will reflect the same insecurities. You may earn more money, but still feel unworthy or anxious about losing it. Because the external world is not the source of your reality. It is the echo. If your outer life is a reflection of your inner world, then the only real power lies in transforming that inner space, not through force or denial, but through conscious observation and loving discipline. What are you consistently thinking? What stories are you telling yourself? Are you walking through life with the belief that the world is against you, or are you choosing to believe that the universe is constantly conspiring in your favor? Many unknowingly live as victims of their own mental atmosphere. They do not realize that their dominant thoughts are not private. They are creative. Every time you affirm something with emotional conviction, you are handing that blueprint to the universe. And the universe, ever obedient, begins to shape reality accordingly. If you constantly declare that you're unlucky, unsupported, not because that's the truth of who you are, but because that's the truth you've chosen to accept. The universe does not punish or reward, it reflects. It has no bias, no judgment, it simply responds. That's why changing your life begins with changing your assumptions, not by fighting what you don't want, but by consistently choosing the thoughts that match what you do want. You must begin to identify more with your vision than with your current conditions. You must learn to hold the inner state of the desired outcome, even when your senses scream the opposite. The most profound shifts occur when you stop reacting to what is and start responding to what could be. This requires spiritual maturity. It requires choosing your state with intention rather than allowing external events to dictate your mood, your confidence, or your sense of worth. It is easy to feel abundant when money is flowing. It is easy to feel loved when others praise you, but to feel those states before they arise, to cultivate them from within without waiting for the outer world to catch up, is to become the master of your reality. This is why inner work is not optional. It is essential. Meditation, visualization, prayer, self-talk, and emotional awareness are not just spiritual practices, they are the tools of creation. Every moment you spend aligning your inner world with your highest vision is a moment invested in your transformation. You may not see immediate results, but that does not mean nothing is happening. The seed planted in the soil does not sprout overnight, but in the silence and darkness beneath the surface, life is being born. You must become deeply aware of the atmosphere you carry within you. Are you walking with the spirit of lack, even as you ask for abundance? Are you holding resentment while praying for peace? Are you doubting yourself while trying to manifest success? These inner contradictions are not harmless. They are powerful signals sent out into the universe, and the universe reflects them back without fail. When you clean the mirror, when you bring your inner world into harmony with your desire, the reflection changes. This is not about toxic positivity. It is not about pretending that pain doesn't exist or denying the reality of struggle. It is about choosing not to make your pain your home. It's about acknowledging your challenges without turning them into permanent identities. The moment you say, "This is just how I am," or "This is just how life works," you are etching that belief into your vibration, and your life, like a loyal servant, conforms to that declaration. But you can choose a new story. You can begin to tell yourself not what has always been, but what can now be. You can speak to yourself in the language of possibility, not limitation. You can begin to treat your inner world as sacred, as powerful, as the true source of every miracle, because it is. When you shift your inner world, the outer world must follow. It has no choice. It is a law, not a theory. You cannot hold the vibration of peace and continue to attract chaos. You cannot dwell in worthiness and keep attracting rejection. You cannot live in the frequency of love and continue to be met with indifference. Life does not ignore what you feel consistently, it replicates it. You don't have to fix the outer world. You don't have to beg for change or wait for permission. You only have to align the mirror. And to do that, you must become deeply, consciously responsible for the state you dwell in day after day. Your joy, your abundance, your peace, they all begin with what you carry inside. And when your inner world becomes the match for what you desire, the universe in its perfect precision reflects it back to you in ways more beautiful than you could have imagined. Everything you experience is the reflection of your inner world. The world does not act upon you, it moves through you, responding to the assumptions you hold as true. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, you are their creator. The great secret is that the universe is not something outside of you deciding your fate. It is the mirror of your own consciousness, shaped and molded by the thoughts you persistently entertain. Dare to assume that life is working in your favor. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. When you wake up, walk, speak, and breathe, do so with the conviction that everything conspires to bring about your desires. See the world as an ally, bending itself to fulfill the vision you hold in mind. Let no doubt creep in, for doubt is the only thing that delays the manifestation of what is already yours. If you wish to be successful, act as if you already are. Not with desperation, not with force, but with quiet confidence. Carry yourself with the certainty that all things are being arranged for your good. If you desire wealth, let your mind dwell in the feeling of abundance. Walk as though prosperity already embraces you. Speak as if the doors have opened, as if the opportunities have come, as if the success you seek is already secured. The secret is not in the outer action, but in the inner state. The moment you assume a new state of being, the universe aligns to reflect it. People, events, and circumstances shift to match the reality you have chosen. It is not magic, it is law. The law that governs all creation, responding unfailingly to the impression you make upon it. If you wish to be loved, assume you are already cherished. Do not wait for the world to confirm it, know it now. If you seek health, do not dwell on symptoms, but rest in the certainty that wholeness is already yours. The universe does not respond to begging, to pleading, or to effort. It responds only to the feeling of already having what you seek. You do not need to change the outside world. You need only change yourself, for the world is but a reflection. Everything you see, touch, and experience is molded by the assumptions you act as true. Change your assumptions, and the world rearranges itself to reflect them. Act as if the universe works for you, because it does. Not sometimes, not conditionally, but always. It waits for you to command it, not with force, but with belief. Walk in the knowing that every event, every encounter, every detail of your life is unfolding in perfect harmony with your desires. What you assume, you become. What you persist in believing, you will see. Manifestation is not about wishful thinking or hoping that something will happen. It is the art of bringing the unseen into the seen, the intangible into the tangible. Everything that exists in your life right now was once only a thought, an idea, an assumption that took form through your consciousness. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are always manifesting. Your world is a direct reflection of the beliefs and assumptions you hold about yourself and reality. The power to shape your experiences does not lie outside of you, it is within you, responding to the impressions you impress upon it. Many believe that manifestation is about external action, about doing something outwardly to create a change. But true manifestation is not about force or struggle. It is not about manipulating circumstances or chasing opportunities. It is about aligning your inner state with the reality you wish to experience. Your external world is a mirror, reflecting back to you the contents of your mind. If you want to change what appears on the surface, you must first change what you accept as true within yourself. The universe is not responding to what you want, it is responding to who you are being. To manifest something into your reality, you must first assume it as real within your imagination. The mind does not distinguish between what is physically present and what is vividly imagined. When you immerse yourself in the feeling of already having what you desire, you impress this assumption upon your subconscious. The subconscious mind does not question it, only accepts and expresses what it is fed. This is why imagination is the key to manifestation. What you consistently hold in mind with conviction must externalize itself in the world around you. Most people make the mistake of waiting for evidence before they believe. They look at their current circumstances and allow them to dictate what is possible. But manifestation does not work this way. You must believe before you see. You must assume before it becomes visible. The moment you fully accept something as true in your inner world, the external world begins to move in accordance with that assumption. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. Every great achievement, every success, every transformation begins first in the unseen realm of thought before it materializes. Many wonder why they do not see results, why their desires seem to remain out of reach. The reason is simple: they continue to hold on to doubts, fears, and contradictory beliefs that oppose their desires. They may affirm abundance, yet deep within, they still feel lack. They may visualize love, yet carry an assumption of loneliness. They may desire health, yet persist in identifying with illness. The outer world does not bring what you say you want, it brings what you deeply assume to be true. This is why self-awareness is crucial in manifestation. You must observe your inner conversations, your emotions, your automatic reactions, for these reveal the assumptions you truly hold. To manifest deliberately, you must first become clear on what you desire. Do not waver, do not entertain conflicting ideas. The moment you decide on what you wish to experience, you must commit to it fully in your mind. See yourself already in possession of your desire. Feel the reality of it as if it were happening right now. How would you think, speak, and act if you already had what you wanted? Step into that state mentally and persist in it. Imagination is your greatest tool. If you can create a scene in your mind where your desire is already fulfilled, and you dwell in that scene with conviction, it must externalize itself in your reality. Do not worry about how or when it will happen. That is not your concern. Your only task is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption. Most people allow the physical world to dictate their beliefs. They look at what is and assume that it must continue. But those who understand the power of manifestation do not live this way. They do not react to circumstances, they create them. They know that what appears now is only the result of past assumptions, and if they desire a new reality, they must adopt new assumptions. Doubt is the greatest enemy of manifestation. The moment you question whether something will happen, you are introducing resistance. The mind can only hold one dominant belief at a time, and if that belief is filled with uncertainty, it will cancel out your desire. This is why faith is essential. Faith is not about hoping something will come to pass, it is the absolute knowing that it already is. When you live in this state of inner conviction, the outer world has no choice but to conform. The key to successful manifestation is persistence. Many people give up too soon. They allow themselves to be swayed by appearances, by the seeming lack of progress. But those who persist in their assumption, who refuse to entertain doubt, always see their desires materialize. The universe is not testing you. It is not withholding anything from you. It is only responding to the vibration you hold consistently. If you persist in the feeling of already having what you seek, it must come into being. Your imagination is limitless. There is no desire too great, no dream too impossible. The only limitations are those you impose upon yourself. The moment you accept that you are the creator of your reality, you free yourself from the illusion of circumstance. You stop waiting for things to change and realize that you are the one who changes them. Manifestation is not something you do, it is something you are. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is shaping the world around you. Once you understand this, you will no longer feel powerless. You will no longer wait for things to happen. You will know that everything you seek is already yours, waiting to be claimed through the power of your imagination. Assumption is the foundation upon which all things in your life are built. It is the unseen force that directs your experiences, shaping the world around you according to the beliefs you hold as true. Whether you realize it or not, you are always assuming. Every thought you dwell upon, every belief you accept, every expectation you carry is an assumption that molds your reality. The world does not act independently of you, it reflects back to you the sum total of your dominant assumptions. To understand the power of assumption, you must first realize that reality is not fixed. What appears to be solid, external, and unchangeable is in fact fluid, responding to the impressions you make upon it. Many believe that they must wait for circumstances to change before they can feel different. But the truth is the opposite. It is your inner state that determines what appears in your world. Your assumptions are the creative force behind every event, every encounter, and every condition in your life. If you assume that life is difficult, that success is hard to attain, that love is scarce, then these assumptions become the script by which your life unfolds. The outer world only mirrors what you persistently believe. If instead you assume that things are always working out for you, that opportunities flow effortlessly, that you are deeply loved, then this new script takes form in your reality. It is not the world that must change first, it is you. Most people do not consciously choose their assumptions. They absorb them from their environment, from past experiences, from the opinions of others. They believe things are a certain way simply because they have always appeared that way. But this is a great illusion. The only reason something continues to appear in your life is because you continue to assume it must. The moment you change your assumption, the outer world begins to shift in response. To harness the power of assumption, you must first become aware of what you currently believe to be true. Your automatic thoughts, your emotional reactions, and the way you speak about yourself and your life all reveal your dominant assumptions. If you are constantly worrying about money, then beneath the surface you have accepted lack as your reality. If you always expect rejection, then somewhere in your consciousness you have assumed yourself to be unwanted. The first step to transformation is recognizing these hidden beliefs, for only then can they be replaced with new, empowering assumptions. Changing an assumption does not require struggle or effort. It simply requires a decision. The moment you choose to accept a new idea as true, reality begins to align with it. If you desire wealth, assume you are already abundant. If you desire love, assume you are already cherished. Do not wait for proof, act as if it is already so. Walk, speak, and think from the perspective of the person who already has what they seek. The outer world may not change instantly, but it will rearrange itself in time to reflect your new assumption. One of the greatest mistakes people make is allowing appearances to dictate their beliefs. They look at their current circumstances and assume that they must continue. But circumstances are only the result of past assumptions. They have no power to dictate what comes next unless you allow them to. If you persist in a new assumption, no matter what the outer world appears to be, the old reality must dissolve, making way for the new. Doubt is the greatest barrier to manifestation. The moment you question whether your assumption is working, you introduce resistance. You shift your focus from the reality you desire to the absence of it. But assumption does not require constant reinforcement. It does not require effort or repetition. It only requires faith. A single moment of absolute conviction is enough to set the wheels in motion. When you assume something with unwavering belief, it is done. The world will move to confirm it in ways you may not expect or understand. Assumption is not limited by logic or reason. It does not concern itself with probabilities or past experiences. It is governed only by what you accept as true. If you assume something is possible, then it becomes possible. If you assume something is impossible, then it remains beyond your reach. The laws of the physical world bend in accordance with your inner convictions. Nothing is too big or too small to be shaped by assumption. Your imagination is the key to mastering assumption. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine a scene in which your desire is already fulfilled, you are planting the seed of a new reality. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It only accepts what you impress upon it as fact. When you assume a new state in imagination and dwell in the feeling of its reality, you are shifting your consciousness to a new version of yourself. And once you occupy a new state inwardly, the outer world must conform to match it. Most people struggle with assumption because they allow themselves to be swayed by what they see. They assume their desires are far away because their senses tell them so. But the truth is that what you desire is already yours the moment you assume it to be. It exists now, waiting to be externalized. The gap between assumption and physical manifestation is only an illusion of time. If you persist in your belief, without wavering, the unseen will become seen. Assumption does not require external confirmation. You do not need signs, proof, or validation from the world. The moment you look for evidence, you introduce doubt. You shift from knowing to questioning. True assumption is a quiet certainty, an unshakable inner knowing that what you have assumed is already fact. When you live from this state, the world around you must adjust to reflect it. There is no limit to what you can assume. You are free to step into any reality you choose. The only question is, what will you assume to be true about yourself and your life? Will you continue to accept the limitations of the past, or will you dare to assume something greater? The choice is always yours. The moment you accept a new assumption, the universe moves to confirm it. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you believe to be true. Your beliefs shape the very fabric of your reality, defining the experiences you encounter, the opportunities that present themselves, and the obstacles that seem to appear in your path. Every moment, knowingly or unknowingly, you are broadcasting your inner convictions to the world, and the world, like an obedient mirror, reflects them back to you. If you assume that the universe is working against you, you will find endless proof to confirm this belief. But if you assume that the universe works for you, you will witness how effortlessly things begin to unfold in your favor. It is not enough to merely hope that things will work out, or to wish that life will become easier. Hope is weak. It lacks the power to shift reality. Assumption, on the other hand, is unwavering. It moves with certainty, not with hesitation. To truly live in alignment with the belief that the universe works for you, you must embody this truth in every thought, every action, and every reaction. You must carry yourself as one who already knows, beyond all doubt, that everything in life is orchestrating itself to bring you precisely what you need. Most people operate from a place of fear and resistance, believing that they must fight against the world to achieve what they desire. They believe that success is difficult, that good fortune is rare, and that happiness is something to be earned through struggle. But the moment you let go of these false assumptions and embrace the idea that the universe is always guiding you, always assisting you, always rearrange circumstances in your favor, you will begin to see evidence of this truth everywhere. Consider the times in your life when things fell into place effortlessly. The right person appeared at the right moment. An opportunity presented itself when you least expected it. A problem that seemed insurmountable resolved itself without effort. These are not random coincidences. They are proof that the universe is always conspiring to bring you exactly what you need. But when you resist this natural flow, when you doubt, when you fear, when you question, you block the very blessings that are meant for you. Living as if the universe works for you means letting go of the need to control every detail of your life. Control is an illusion. It is born from fear, from the belief that if you do not struggle, you will not receive. But struggle is unnecessary. The universe does not require effort to deliver what is already yours. It only requires trust. Trust that every delay has purpose, that every closed door is leading you to something greater, that even the challenges you face are stepping stones toward your highest good. The person who believes the universe is against them sees obstacles in every situation. They expect things to go wrong, and so they do. They assume betrayal, and it comes. They fear lack, and they experience scarcity. But the person who believes that the universe is working in their favor walks with a different energy. They expect solutions before problems arise. They assume abundance, and it flows to them effortlessly. They believe that life is unfolding perfectly, and so it does. This is not to say that difficulties will never arise. Challenges are part of the unfolding of life. But when you trust that the universe works for you, you do not resist these challenges. Instead, you recognize them as opportunities for expansion. Every difficulty contains within it the seed of transformation. Every moment of contrast serves to refine your vision, to redirect you towards something greater. When you meet these moments with the assumption that they are serving you, they lose their power to cause suffering. Imagine walking into every situation with the absolute certainty that everything is happening in your favor. Imagine approaching every opportunity with the confidence that you are supported. Imagine facing every challenge with the deep knowing that it is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your highest self. When you carry this energy, the world responds in kind. People treat you differently. Doors open where they once seemed closed. Solutions present themselves before problems arise. The secret to manifesting this reality is simple. Act as if it is already so. Do not wait for proof. Do not wait for circumstances to shift before you believe. Decide now that the universe is on your side. Walk through life with the unshakable assumption that you are always being guided, always being assisted, always being led toward the fulfillment of your highest desires. The moment you make this shift, reality will begin to mold itself around your new belief. Most people allow circumstances to dictate their beliefs. They look at their current situation and assume that it must continue. But circumstances are only reflections of past assumptions. If you wish to change what you see in the outer world, you must first change what you believe within. The moment you assume a new reality, the universe begins to arrange itself to bring that reality into being. Doubt is the greatest enemy of manifestation. The moment you question whether the universe is truly working for you, you introduce resistance. You begin to look for signs of struggle And in doing so, you create them. But when you persist in your assumption, when you hold firm to your belief regardless of what the outer world appears to show, you allow reality to shift in your favor. This is the key. Reality conforms to your assumptions, not the other way around. Most people wait for proof before they believe. But the true creators of reality understand that belief comes first and proof follows. You must first assume that you are supported, that you are guided, that everything is always unfolding in perfect harmony, and then you will see this truth reflected in your life. Your imagination is your most powerful tool in shaping this belief. When you close your eyes and envision a world in which you are fully supported, in which every event, every encounter, every circumstance is aligning perfectly for your benefit, you are planting the seed of that reality. And as you persist in that assumption, as you continue to live from that state of mind, the outer world must conform. The universe does not make mistakes. Every moment of your life has led you to this realization. Every event, every challenge, every triumph has been guiding you toward the understanding that you are not alone, that you are not struggling against life, but rather co-creating with it. The only question is whether you will choose to believe this truth or continue to resist it. If you desire ease, assume that life is effortless. If you desire success, assume that success is inevitable. If you desire love, assume that you are deeply loved. The universe does not question your assumptions, it simply brings them into form. The only limit to what you can experience is the limit of what you are willing to assume. So choose now. Choose to walk through life as one who is supported, guided, and endlessly blessed. Assume that every event, every person, every moment is conspiring in your favor. And as you hold firm to this belief, the universe will respond in ways beyond your imagination. Your feelings are the language through which you communicate with the universe. Every emotion you hold, every sensation you dwell in, is shaping the reality you experience. You are not a passive observer in this life, waiting for things to happen to you. You are the creator, molding the unseen forces into visible form through the energy of your emotions. If you want to know what you are attracting, look at how you feel in this very moment. Your dominant emotions are the silent architects of your future. The universe does not respond to words alone. You may say that you believe in abundance, but if your emotions are steeped in fear and doubt, you are sending out a different message. You may speak of confidence and success, but if your heart is weighed down by insecurity, the reality that unfolds will match what you feel, not just what you say. Your emotions are the force behind every manifestation. They are the energy you radiate, the vibration you emit, and the world mirrors that energy back to you. Most people attempt to change their circumstances without first changing how they feel. They work harder, push against resistance, and struggle to force reality into submission. But they do this while carrying emotions of lack, frustration, and doubt. They do not realize that the more they feel struggle, the more struggle they create. The key is not to fight against what is, but to shift your inner state so completely that the outer world must conform. Think about a time in your life when you were truly happy, when everything seemed to align effortlessly. You may not have been consciously manifesting, yet things flowed in perfect harmony. Why? Because your emotional state was already in alignment with what you desired. You were not chasing success, you were already feeling successful. You were not longing for love. You were already feeling love within yourself. And because you carried that energy, the world around you reflected it back to you in the form of opportunities, relationships, and synchronicities that matched your emotional frequency. To act as if the universe works for you, you must feel the truth of that reality before it appears in your outer world. You must carry within you the emotions of certainty, trust, and joy, knowing that life is always unfolding in your favor. When you do this, you shift your vibration, and as your vibration shifts, your reality transforms to match it. If you desire abundance, you must feel abundant now. Not someday, not when circumstances change, but in this very moment. You must train yourself to dwell in the feeling of already having what you desire. This is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about aligning with the energy of the reality you wish to create. When you truly feel abundant, when you move through the world with a sense of overflow and gratitude, you become a magnet for wealth and prosperity. If you desire love, you must embody the feeling of being deeply loved right now. Most people look for love outside of themselves, believing that another person will complete them. But love is not something you receive, it is something you generate. When you cultivate the feeling of love within, when you move through life with an open heart, radiating love to yourself and others, you attract love effortlessly. The relationships that come into your life will be reflections of the love you already carry within. If you desire success, you must feel successful before the world recognizes your success. Many people believe they must first achieve external accomplishments before they can feel worthy of success. But this is an illusion. The truth is that success comes to those who already feel successful, who carry themselves with confidence, who expect great things to happen. It is not about waiting for evidence, it is about becoming the evidence. Your emotions are your guide. They tell you in every moment whether you are aligned with the life you desire or resisting it. When you feel ease, joy, and gratitude, you are in alignment. When you feel stress, worry, and fear, you are resisting the flow of the universe. The universe is always working for you, but it can only bring you what you are energetically aligned with. This is why it is essential to become aware of your emotional state. Too often, people live unconsciously, reacting to circumstances without realizing that their emotions are creating those very circumstances. They wake up feeling anxious, and the day unfolds with events that reinforce that anxiety. They dwell in feelings of lack, and life continues to show them reasons to feel deprived. But when you take control of your emotional state, when you consciously choose to feel joy, gratitude, and confidence, even before external proof appears, you shift your reality from the inside out. The greatest power you have is your ability to feel your desired reality into existence. This is not wishful thinking. It is a law as certain as gravity. The energy you emit is the energy that returns to you. If you want to know what you are attracting, look at how you feel right now. If your emotions are in alignment with your desires, you will see those desires manifest with ease. If your emotions contradict your desires, you will experience delay, struggle, or even the opposite of what you want. The secret is to embody the feeling of already having what you desire, even when physical evidence has not yet appeared. This requires faith. It requires knowing, deep in your being, that the universe is already working to bring your desires to you. When you persist in this state, when you refuse to be shaken by appearances, the world has no choice but to conform to your inner reality. Most people allow circumstances to dictate their emotions. They feel happy when things go well and discouraged when things seem to go wrong. But those who understand the creative power of emotions do the opposite. They decide how they want to feel, regardless of external conditions, and in doing so, they shape their reality. They do not wait for proof before they believe first, and the proof follows. When you wake up each day, ask yourself, what emotions am I choosing to carry into this day? Am I choosing to feel gratitude, abundance, and joy? Or am I carrying worry, fear, and doubt? The choice you make determines the reality you experience. If you wish to see evidence that the universe is working for you, begin by feeling as if it already is. Walk with the energy of someone who knows beyond all doubt that life is unfolding perfectly. Move through each moment with the certainty that everything is conspiring in your favor. When you live in this state, you will begin to witness miracles unfolding before you. Doors will open where you once saw none. Solutions will appear before problems arise. Synchronicities will confirm your inner knowing. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are the creator of your experience. Your emotions are the force that shapes your world. Choose them wisely and the universe will respond in kind. Imagination is not just a tool for idle daydreams, it is the blueprint of reality. Everything you experience in your outer world first existed as an unseen thought. a mental image, a feeling held within. Before anything takes form in the physical world, it is first shaped in the mind. You are not merely responding to life, you are creating it moment by moment through the pictures you hold in your imagination and the emotions you attach to them. The world does not happen to you, it is molded by you. If you wish to change anything in your life, you must first change the images you hold in your mind. Most people do not realize that they are imagining all the time. They allow their minds to wander, drifting into thoughts of worry, doubt, or limitation. They replay past failures, anticipate future struggles, and unconsciously create experiences that match these inner pictures. What you imagine consistently, whether in joy or in fear, will eventually take shape in your world. The universe does not filter your thoughts, deciding which ones to bring into reality. It simply responds to the dominant energy you send out. If you persistently dwell on images of lack, struggle, or rejection, those will be the realities you encounter. But if you deliberately cultivate images of success, abundance, and love, your world will shift to match them. Imagination is the gateway to the infinite. It is the bridge between what is unseen and what becomes visible. Every great achievement, every invention, every transformation in history began in the mind of someone who dared to imagine something beyond their present reality. When you see yourself as successful, when you vividly experience in your imagination the feeling of already having what you desire, you set forces into motion that will bring that vision to life. This is not wishful thinking, it is the foundation of all creation. To act as if the universe works for you, you must learn to use your imagination intentionally. Do not let it drift aimlessly. Shape it, direct it, use it as a tool to form the life you desire. Instead of replaying old fears, create new mental pictures of triumph. Instead of imagining obstacles, see doors opening effortlessly. Instead of dwelling on what is missing, imagine yourself already in possession of all that you seek. As you do this, you will begin to feel the reality of your desires taking root within you. The stronger and more vivid the feeling, the faster the outer world will conform. There is no separation between you and what you desire. The only difference between where you are now and where you wish to be is the state of consciousness you occupy. The moment you shift your awareness, the moment you feel as if your desire is already fulfilled, you change the course of your reality. The universe responds to the certainty of your imagination. It does not require struggle or force, only conviction. If you can imagine it, believe it, and feel it as real, it must come to pass. Think of a time when something you deeply desired became reality. Perhaps it was an opportunity that seemed to appear out of nowhere, a connection that felt destined, or a breakthrough that unfolded effortlessly. If you reflect, you will realize that before these events occurred, you had already lived them in your imagination. You had seen yourself in that moment, felt the emotions of it, and unknowingly set the stage for its manifestation. The world merely echoed back the inner reality you had created. Most people dismiss the power of imagination because they are conditioned to believe only in what they can see. They trust the external world more than their inner vision. But what is seen is only a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. If you wish to create something new, you must first hold it firmly in your imagination with absolute certainty until it becomes your new reality. The outer world is not fixed, it is fluid, always adjusting to match your dominant mental state. If you doubt this, test it for yourself. Take something small, something you do not have deep resistance to, and imagine it in perfect detail. See it in your mind, feel it as if it is already yours, and then release it with certainty. Watch as the universe moves to bring it to you. The more you practice this, the more evidence you will gather that your imagination is the key to creation. Over time, you will develop an unshakable faith in your ability to mold reality through the pictures you hold in your mind. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you begin to believe. Believe first, and the circumstances will follow. Live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Walk through the world as if everything is already working in your favor. Imagine yourself already living in the reality you desire, and hold that vision with unwavering conviction. The moment you make this shift internally, the universe begins arranging the external details to match. It must, for it has no choice but to reflect back to you the world you carry within. Your imagination is your greatest tool, your direct connection to the infinite. It is not bound by logic, by past experiences, or by present conditions. It operates outside of time and space, allowing you to create new realities that transcend what is currently visible. When you master your imagination, you master your world. When you see yourself as already having all that you seek, you collapse the distance between where you are and where you want to be. The outer world is but a shadow of your inner vision. Every moment you are creating. Whether you do so consciously or unconsciously, the process is always at work. The question is not whether imagination shapes reality, but whether you are using it deliberately or allowing it to be shaped by default. If you wish to see the universe move in your favor, begin by imagining it as so. See yourself as one with your desires. Feel the reality of it. Move through each day with the confidence of someone who knows that what they seek is already theirs. When you persist in this state, you will witness the miraculous unfold before you. You are not waiting for your prayer to be answered. You are not hoping, wishing, or pleading. You are stepping into the reality where it is already done. The secret is not in asking over and over, but in assuming that what you desire is already yours. The moment you accept it as a fact in your imagination, it becomes real in your world. You do not chase what you already possess. You do not question whether the sun will rise when you have already seen the dawn. You must embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Walk, talk, and move through life as though your request has been granted, because it has. Creation is finished. Everything you could ever desire already exists in the unseen. Your only task is to bring it forth by knowing it is yours. When you assume the state of fulfillment, the world must respond. It is law. If you wish to be wealthy, you do not look for proof of riches outside of you. You carry the consciousness of abundance within. If you desire love, you do not seek it in another. You feel it radiating from within. The outer world is a reflection, a mirror of what you hold inside. Change within, and the mirror must change. Faith is not blind. It is the ability to see beyond appearances, to know that what is invisible is more real than what your senses show you. Do not wait for evidence. Act now, live now, be now. Walk in the confidence that what you have claimed in your imagination must take form in your reality. The moment you stop doubting, the moment you cease looking for signs, the moment you rest in the certainty that it is done, that is when it manifests. You must learn the art of inner knowing. There is no separation between you and your desires except the illusion of time. But time is merely the unfolding of what has already been accepted within. The world bends to your inner convictions. Persist in the assumption. Stay loyal to the vision. Feel the gratitude now and watch as reality reshapes itself to align with the truth you have claimed. You are not waiting for your desire to be fulfilled. You are not hoping for it. Nor are you looking outside of yourself for signs that it is coming. You are stepping into the reality where it already exists. The moment you assume it as fact in your imagination, it is done. There is no separation between you and what you seek except the belief that you do not have it yet. And that belief is the only thing keeping you from experiencing it in the physical world. Most people pray from a place of lack. They ask over and over, hoping that something outside of them will intervene and grant their request. But the truth is, you are not separate from what you want. The moment you believe that your desire exists outside of you, you push it further away. True prayer is not begging. It is assuming the state of the answered prayer. It is shifting into the version of yourself that already has what you seek. Think about how you would feel if right now your wish were fulfilled. Would you still ask for it? Would you still worry about how it will come to pass? No, because you would already know it is yours. This is the secret. You must embody the feeling of having it now, not someday, not when circumstances change, but right now. When you assume it is real, you are not lying to yourself. You are aligning with the truth that all possibilities already exist. The universe does not recognize future or past. It only responds to your present state of being. Imagine a person who desires wealth but constantly feels poor. They look at their bank account and reinforce their lack. They focus on what they do not have, and their emotions follow. They feel anxious, worried, and frustrated. These feelings, these states of being, are signals to the universe that say, I am in lack. And because the outer world is only a reflection of the inner world, lack continues to manifest. But if that same person shifts their focus, if they assume the state of already having wealth, if they walk through life with the confidence of someone who is financially secure, everything begins to change. They no longer make decisions from a place of scarcity. They start to see opportunities where before they only saw obstacles. Their subconscious mind begins to direct them toward actions and ideas that align with their new assumption. The world must respond to the state they hold within. Your assumption dictates your reality. If you want love, you must not look for it outside of yourself. You must assume that you are already deeply loved. You must feel the warmth, the security, and the joy of being cherished before anyone comes into your life. If you want health, you must not focus on illness. You must assume the feeling of vitality, strength, and well-being. Your body will respond to your dominant mental state, for the body is nothing more than the materialization of the mind. You do not wait for circumstances to change before you assume. You change your assumption and the circumstances follow. The common mistake is thinking that something must first happen in the external world before you can feel the way you want to feel. But the truth is, everything begins within. You must decide now that you are the person who has what you desire. You must step into the reality where it is already true, and you must remain there until the world reshapes itself to match your inner conviction. This is not about pretending, it is about knowing. There is a difference between wishing for something and assuming it as a fact. Wishing is weak, it acknowledges separation. Assuming is powerful, it declares unity. When you assume, you are not waiting, you are living in the end result. And because the outer world is only a reflection, it must conform to your inner state. Look at those who succeed effortlessly in life. They do not struggle, they do not force things to happen. Instead, they carry an inner certainty. They do not ask, will this happen? They know it already has. They trust in the unseen. They do not seek proof before believing. They believe, and then the proof appears. Think about something in your life that once seemed impossible, but later became a reality. At some point, you aligned with that reality internally. You stopped doubting, you stopped resisting, and it came to pass. This is the key to all manifestation. You must assume the state of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption no matter what your senses tell you. The world may try to show you otherwise, but your task is to remain faithful to your inner vision. Doubt is the only enemy. When you doubt, you undo the work of your assumption. You cannot hold two conflicting states at once. You cannot believe in your success while simultaneously fearing failure. You must choose the reality you want to live in and remain unwavering in your conviction. It does not matter what is happening around you, it only matters what you hold true within. The moment you stop looking for evidence, the moment you stop questioning when or how it will come, that is the moment it begins to unfold. When you truly believe that it is already done, you rest. You no longer feel the need to force anything because you know it is inevitable. This is the power of assumption. This is the law in action. Everything you seek is already here. You do not have to earn it. You do not have to fight for it. You simply have to assume it as yours. When you do, life rearranges itself to bring you exactly what you have claimed in your consciousness. There is no other way it can be. Your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. Every experience you encounter, every person you meet, and every situation you find yourself in is simply mirroring back to you what you hold within. The world does not happen to you, it happens through you. The circumstances of your life are not separate from your state of being. They are the direct result of the thoughts, emotions, and beliefs you carry inside. Most people believe that their reality is shaped by external factors, by luck, by chance, or by forces outside of their control. They look at their current circumstances and react to them as if they are permanent, as if they hold power over them. But this is an illusion. Nothing in your external world is fixed. It is fluid, ever-changing, and completely dependent on your inner state. What you accept as true within yourself must manifest in your outer experience. This is not philosophy, this is law. Imagine waking up every morning and feeling a deep sense of lack. You think about what you do not have, what is missing from your life, and all the ways things are not working out for you. That inner state of lack becomes your dominant vibration, your default mode of being. You go through the day carrying the energy of scarcity, and as a result, everything around you confirms that state. You notice more things to be unhappy about, more evidence of struggle, more reasons to feel powerless. This is not because the world is against you, it is because the world is reflecting you. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine waking up and feeling abundant, even before there is any physical proof. You feel gratitude, you feel peace, and you carry yourself with the certainty that everything is working in your favor. That inner state becomes your new vibration. And because the world mirrors what you hold inside, you begin to notice more opportunities, more synchronicities, more reasons to feel grateful. The world bends to your assumption. It does not dictate how you feel. Your feelings dictate how the world responds to you. If you desire love but believe deep down that you are unworthy of it, your outer world will reflect that belief. You will attract relationships that mirror your self-doubt. You will find yourself in situations where love feels distant, where people do not treat you with the kindness and respect you crave. This is not because love is unavailable to you. It is because your assumption of unworthiness creates a reality where love seems out of reach. If instead you shift your inner state and assume that you are deeply loved, cherished, and valued, the world must rearrange itself to match that assumption. The people who come into your life will reflect that love back to you. You will find yourself in situations where you feel appreciated and adored. Your relationships will change because you have changed. You are not attracting love, you are embodying it, and the world cannot help but mirror it back. The same applies to health. If you constantly focus on illness, on what is wrong with your body, on what is not functioning the way you want it to, you are reinforcing that state of being. Your body responds to your dominant mental state, but if you shift your focus, if you assume the feeling of being whole, strong, and vibrant, your body begins to heal. You are not ignoring reality, you are choosing to create a new one. Everything in your life is a projection of your consciousness. The conditions you see in the world around you are a reflection of the dominant thoughts and beliefs you hold inside. If you do not like what you see, do not try to change the external world first. Change within, and the outer world must follow. Think of a mirror. If you see a frown in the reflection, you do not try to change the mirror. You change your own expression, and the mirror naturally reflects the change. This is how reality works. Trying to force external circumstances to change without changing your inner state is like trying to fix a reflection without changing the original image. It will never work. The only way to create a new reality is to shift your consciousness first. This is why people who operate from a place of fear, doubt, or limitation often find themselves trapped in cycles of struggle. They react to what they see, reinforcing their negative assumptions, which then creates more of the same. But those who understand this principle take control of their inner world. They do not let circumstances dictate their state of being. They decide how they want to feel, what they want to believe, and they hold firm in that state until the outer world aligns with it. There is no randomness in what appears in your life. Everything is a direct result of what you are broadcasting from within. The relationships you have, the money in your bank account, the opportunities that come your way, none of it is separate from you. It is all responding to the energy you are emitting. If you want something different, you must become different. The most powerful shift you can make is realizing that nothing outside of you needs to change first. You do not need to wait for a job to feel successful. You do not need to wait for a relationship to feel loved. You do not need to wait for money to feel abundant. You can assume those states right now, and by doing so, you set the stage for their manifestation. The moment you take responsibility for your inner world, you take control of your outer world. You stop blaming circumstances, you stop waiting for things to change, and you step into your power as a creator. You realize that life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. And the more you embody the reality you wish to experience, the more effortlessly it unfolds before you. This is not wishful thinking. This is how reality works. You must first be what you want to experience. You must first feel what you want to receive. And when you do, the world will have no choice but to reflect it back to you. Faith is not about hoping for something to happen in the future. It is about knowing deep within your being that it has already been granted. It is a state of absolute certainty, a feeling so real that the physical world must eventually conform to it. Most people believe that they will have faith once they see evidence, once their desires materialize. But this is backward thinking. Reality does not create belief. Belief creates reality. You must feel it before you see it. Imagine a person planting a seed. They do not question whether it will grow. They know that, given the right conditions, it must sprout and bear fruit. They do not dig up the soil every day to check if the seed is growing because they trust the process. Their faith is absolute. They water the seed, they nurture it, and they allow time to bring forth the result. This is the same way you must approach your desires. The moment you plant the seed of intention in your consciousness, you must assume it is done. You must water it with unwavering belief. Nurture it with consistent thoughts of fulfillment, and allow time to bring forth its manifestation. Think of the way a child believes in magic. A child does not question whether something is possible or not. They accept it as truth without hesitation. They believe in their imagination so completely that they experience their dreams as real. This is the type of faith you must cultivate. You must return to the pure, unwavering belief that what you desire is already yours. You must embody the feeling of having it now, without needing physical proof. If you desire wealth, you cannot look at an empty bank account and feel poor. Doing so reinforces the state of lack. Instead, you must feel wealthy before the money arrives. You must carry yourself with the confidence and ease of someone who is financially abundant. Your actions, your thoughts, and your emotions must align with the reality you wish to experience. The moment you assume the feeling of wealth, your outer world begins to shift to match that assumption. If you desire love, you cannot look at an empty space beside you and feel lonely. You must assume the feeling of already being in a loving, fulfilling relationship. You must speak, think, and act as if love is already present in your life. The energy you emit will naturally attract circumstances and people that reflect this assumption. Some may wonder, how can I feel something that does not yet exist? But this question itself is a misunderstanding of how reality operates. The physical world is always the last to reflect what has already been created in the unseen. Everything that exists now was once only an idea, a thought, a feeling. A house is first designed in the mind before it is built. A song is first felt in the heart before it is played. A painting is first envisioned before it appears on the canvas. The invisible precedes the visible. When you assume something to be true, your subconscious mind begins to work tirelessly to align your outer world with your inner state. It influences your actions, your decisions, and even the opportunities that present themselves to you. People will show up in your life in unexpected ways. Doors will open where there were once walls. Circumstances will rearrange themselves to accommodate your assumption. But all of this begins with unwavering faith. Faith is not passive. It is not sitting idly by hoping for a miracle. It is an active state of being. It is the conviction that what you desire is already yours, even if your senses tell you otherwise. It is walking forward with the confidence of one who already possesses what they seek. When a person of faith speaks, they do not beg or plead for their desires to come to pass. They declare their reality with certainty. They do not say, I hope to be successful one day. They say, I am successful now. They do not say, I wish for love. They say, I am loved deeply and fully. They do not say, I need healing. They say, I am whole and vibrant. Their words carry power because they are rooted in absolute belief. Your mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It responds to the emotions and assumptions you feed it. If you assume success, confidence, and joy, your subconscious mind will find ways to bring those experiences into your life. If you assume struggle, doubt, and fear, it will do the same. This is why you must be deliberate in your assumptions. Choose the reality you wish to experience and live from that state, regardless of what your senses tell you. There is no such thing as waiting for the right conditions. The only condition that matters is your inner state. People often say, I will be happy when I have more money, or I will feel confident when I find love, or I will believe in my dreams when I see results. But this is an illusion. The external world is always a reflection of the internal. If you wish to see change, you must first become the change. Your feelings are the key. They are the language of creation. If you feel something deeply enough, it must become your reality. This is why you must feel as if your prayers have already been answered. If you feel gratitude now, you will attract more reasons to be grateful. If you feel abundant now, abundance must flow into your life. If you feel loved now, love will surround you. The only thing standing between you and your desires is your willingness to believe in them without evidence. The moment you assume your wish fulfilled, reality has no choice but to conform. It may not happen overnight, but it is inevitable. Just as a seed takes time to grow, your desires will unfold in perfect timing. Your only task is to remain steadfast in your assumption, unwavering in your belief, and unshaken by appearances. Live as if you have already received what you seek. Speak as if it is already yours. Walk with the confidence of one who knows that their reality is shaped by their inner world. When you do this, the universe will conspire to bring your assumption into form. The law is unfailing. What you believe, you receive. What you assume, you become. What you feel, you create. And when you live in the certainty of your answered prayers, your world will transform to reflect it. Every moment of your life, you are shaping your reality through the assumptions you hold. The way you feel, the way you think, and the way you act are all contributing to the unfolding of your experience. If you wish to see change, you must first change within. You cannot expect the world to bring you something different while you continue to feel the same. The world is only a mirror reflecting back to you the state you are in. Think of a person who has always struggled financially. They believe deep down that money is hard to come by, that wealth is for others but not for them. They may work hard, they may push themselves, but their core assumption remains one of lack. Even when they receive money, they feel it will not last, and soon enough, something happens to confirm their fear. A sudden expense, an unexpected loss, and once again they find themselves in the same situation. The cycle continues not because they are unlucky, but because their inner world dictates their outer experience. Now imagine a person who assumes abundance. They believe money flows to them easily. They see themselves as financially secure, regardless of their current bank balance. They feel wealthy even before they physically have the money. Their actions reflect this state. They make decisions from a place of confidence rather than fear. Opportunities arise. Unexpected doors open, and their external world begins to shift to match their inner assumption. This is the power of assumption. You must embody the state of your desired reality before it appears. If you wish for love, you cannot feel lonely and expect love to arrive. If you desire success, you cannot dwell in self-doubt and expect opportunities to find you. The law is absolute. Whatever you assume to be true must be made manifest. Your imagination is the tool through which this transformation occurs. It is not a passive daydreaming activity, but the very mechanism that creates reality. When you visualize yourself as the person you desire to be, when you see yourself already living the life you want, you impress that assumption upon your subconscious mind, and once it is impressed, it must be expressed. The mistake most people make is looking at their current circumstances and allowing them to dictate their inner state. They react to what is rather than creating what could be. They say, "I will feel happy when things change," instead of realizing that things change when they feel happy. The key is to persist in the assumption of your wish fulfilled, regardless of external appearances. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to act in a way that feels unnatural. It is about deeply feeling the truth of your new state. You must so fully embody the assumption of your desired reality that it becomes your natural way of being. The feeling of already having must replace the feeling of wanting. Many people hesitate because they do not see instant results. They assume something for a day or two and then return to their old ways of thinking when nothing appears to change. But the outer world is simply catching up to the inner shift. Just as a planted seed does not sprout overnight, the assumptions you hold must be given time to take root and grow. The key is persistence. There is a story of a man who imagined himself receiving a job he greatly desired. Every night he lay in bed and felt the emotions of already having it. He saw himself working in the role, speaking to colleagues, feeling the satisfaction of success. But weeks passed and nothing happened. Doubt began to creep in, but he reminded himself that what he assumed must come to pass. He persisted in his belief, refusing to react to external appearances. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, an opportunity arose, and he was offered the exact job he had imagined. The world had no choice but to conform to his assumption. This is the power you hold. The world will rearrange itself according to your dominant feeling. It will bring to you exactly what you assume to be true. If you persist in the feeling of already having, you will find that reality bends in ways you never expected. The right people, the right circumstances, and the right opportunities will flow to you naturally. Your imagination is your greatest tool. When you imagine something vividly, feeling it as real, your subconscious accepts it as truth. It does not question whether it is logical or reasonable. It only acts upon the assumption you impress upon it. If you wish to change your life, change the assumptions you hold. The greatest minds and innovators throughout history have understood this principle. They saw their visions as real before they ever came into being. They did not wait for proof before believing, they believed first, and the proof followed. The same law applies to you. You must live from the end result. You must walk through life as though your prayers have already been answered. You must carry yourself as the person you wish to become. The moment you fully assume the state of your desired reality, everything necessary for its fulfillment begins to move in your favor. When you wake up in the morning, do not begin your day by reacting to your current circumstances. Begin it by assuming the feeling of already being the person you wish to be. Throughout your day, carry this assumption with you. If doubts arise, do not entertain them. Return to your inner knowing. Act, think, and feel as though you already have what you seek. There is no external force deciding what you can or cannot have. The only limitation is the one you impose through your assumptions. If you assume struggle, struggle will persist. If you assume ease, life will flow effortlessly. The choice is always yours. Persist in the assumption of your wish fulfilled. Do not waver, do not look to the world for validation. Know deep within that what you desire is already yours. The more real it feels to you on the inside, the sooner it must take shape on the outside. Reality is nothing more than a reflection of the assumptions you hold. Change your assumption and you change your world. There is a power within you that shapes everything you experience. It is not something outside of you, not some force that must be begged or persuaded. It is the very essence of your being. When you understand this truth, you no longer wait for circumstances to change. You no longer hope for things to happen. Instead, you assume the position of the Creator, knowing that what you desire is already yours. The key to manifesting anything in your life is to act as though it is already done, to live in the complete conviction that what you have asked for has been given. Most people move through life reacting to the world around them. They see events unfolding, they experience setbacks, and they allow these external circumstances to dictate how they feel. If things go well, they feel happy. If things go poorly, they feel defeated. But this is not how reality truly operates. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of the inner state. If you wish to change your world, you must first change within. You cannot wait for circumstances to align before you believe. You must believe first, and the world will follow. This is why assumption is the key. If you want to experience love, you must assume you are already loved. If you want success, you must assume you are already successful. If you want health, you must assume you are already whole. There is no need to wait for physical proof before adopting this belief. Doing so only reinforces a state of waiting. And as long as you are waiting, you are not truly believing. The secret is to embody the feeling of already having, to move through life as though your wish has been granted. This is the power of acting as if it is already done. It is not a matter of pretending or deceiving yourself. It is a matter of fully embracing the reality you wish to experience. The world around you is not fixed. It is fluid, constantly shifting in response to the assumptions you hold. The moment you accept something as true, it begins to take form. Consider the example of a person seeking financial abundance. If they look at their current bank account and feel stressed, if they focus on their lack and constantly affirm their struggle, they reinforce that state of being. Their energy, their thoughts, and their actions all stem from a place of scarcity, and as a result, scarcity continues. But if they choose to assume abundance, if they wake up each day feeling wealthy, if they carry themselves as someone who is financially secure, if they speak and act from a place of prosperity, then wealth begins to flow into their life in ways they never expected. They no longer act from desperation, they no longer make choices based on fear. Instead, they move with certainty, and the universe responds accordingly. Faith is the bridge between desire and reality. It is not enough to simply hope or wish for something. You must know it is already yours. This is the mistake most people make. They say, I will believe it when I see it, but the truth is, you will see it when you believe it. The law does not operate on external proof. It operates on internal conviction. The moment you claim something as your own, the moment you step into the feeling of already having it, you set in motion the forces that bring it into your experience. Think of the actor who plays a role. When they step onto the stage, they do not simply say the lines. They become the character. They embody the emotions, the movements, the thoughts of the person they are portraying. They do not question whether they are convincing. They fully step into the role, and as a result, the audience believes them. This is how you must approach your own life. You must step into the role of the person you wish to become. If you want to be confident, act as though you already are. If you want to be successful, move through the world with the certainty of success. If you want to be loved, carry yourself as someone who is deeply cherished. You are always playing a role. The only question is whether you are choosing it consciously or allowing old assumptions to dictate it for you. Every great achievement in history began with someone who assumed the end result before it appeared. The greatest inventors, leaders, and visionaries did not wait for proof before believing in their ideas. They saw the outcome clearly in their minds. They acted from that state, and the world conformed. They did not doubt, they did not question, they persisted in their belief until it became reality. The same law applies to you. Whatever you assume to be true will be made manifest. There is no need to struggle, no need to force things to happen. Your only task is to assume the feeling of already having what you desire. Do not look to the outer world for validation. Your belief is the cause, and the world is the effect. If you wish to change the effect, you must first change the cause. The question is not whether this works. The question is whether you will persist. Many people begin to assume their wish fulfilled, but when they do not see immediate results, they fall back into doubt. They look to the world for signs instead of holding firm in their assumption. But reality takes time to shift. Just as a seed does not sprout the moment it is planted, your desires need time to materialize. The key is to remain unwavering, to continue acting from the state of already having, regardless of what appears before you.